Welcome.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Oh, come on.
I know, they're so sleepy.
It is Sunday. It is Sunday. That's fine.
Maybe they partied hard last night.
Everybody have a good time last night? Yeah. Oh, that got a bigger reaction. All right, good. There we go.
They're still recovering. Welcome to my living room. Thank you
It's
for
very
joining
nice.
me.
Yes, very nice furnishings here.
Is this your first time in St. Louis?
No, I actually was in St. Louis about 9 years ago for a press tour for a movie called Everybody Wants Some. Anybody saw that? So yeah, we did a lot of baseball towns. It was about like a 1980s college baseball team. So we hit like St. Louis. We were in Phoenix. We went to New York. Any baseball town you can think of.
That's a really fun trip.
Yeah, it was as a former baseball player and huge baseball fan. It was very fun.
Have you been able, I know at these conventions, most of the time we just shackle you to the hotel in the convention center. We don't really let you out. Have you been able to go out this time and see anything, or do you have any plans?
We did. Last night, my good buddy Joe Mazzello, if anybody was here over the weekend, I played Tim in Jurassic Park, and he was in Bohemian Rhapsody and everything. He and I did a film together, and so we do some of these at the same time. And we found the most amazing sports bar I've ever found, and I got to watch my Cubs lose. But we got to watch USC beat Michigan, which was great. So that was our big night out in St. Louis.
An up and a down. You got to get thinking of that.
It was a roller coaster of emotions last night. Yes.
Great, I love that. I'm going to ask a few more questions, but if you guys want to start lining up, now's your time. That way you can get to the front of the line. This is your chance. This is your warning. So before we dig into the Superman of it all,
yes.
I want to talk about Road to Perdition a little bit. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
And I'm really interested in what it was like working with Sir Sam Mendes. What was your experience like? What did you take away from that experience?
Well, I mean, I got to work with some really amazing, incredible actors and incredible people at a really young age. So I think, working with people like Tom Hanks and Paul Newman, who at the time were already massive legends, just to kind of see how they approached work on a daily basis, behaved on set, showed up as a professional, treated and respected everybody in the crew. That was just like, as a 13-year-old, it was a really, I think, important thing for me to see firsthand. The business and the town can be kind of crazy and they can kind of get to you, but it was nice to have really wonderful examples at that age of how to just conduct yourself as a professional. So I was always very grateful for that. And working with Sam was just, still to this day is, obviously in the conversation of just the safest I've felt in the hands of a director, and just feeling like you can try things, and someone's gonna be able to tell you that worked and that was great, or they can definitely say, do it again. Sure, don't do that again. And he was just, he was great. I remember on that, and it's something I've been able to do with, when I work with younger actors now as well, as they didn't treat me like that. They really kind of treated me as like anybody else, any of the other cast members, which was like, you're here for a reason. We hired you to do a job, and we expect you to do that job. So, I always remember that. And so I've been able to do that with, like, the kids who played our children on Superman and Lois. Was always like, hey man, I'm not here to tell you how to do, you know what you're doing. Happy to help along the way if you have questions, but it was the best experience I can imagine that could have been. So
that's really sweet. It's nice that you've carried that forward and continue that legacy. That's amazing. So you've been part of some really binge-worthy shows. Yeah. I'm curious, what are your binge-worthy shows? What has like sucked you in and you just couldn't stop? You just had to push through, watch it all.
Succession got me like that in the beginning, and then Peaky Blinders is my like number one. Game of Thrones, definitely high on the list. What's the most recent one? The most recent one that I binged was Mobland. It was one clap. That was great. There we go.
Is that an audience plant?
Yeah, exactly. Mobland was the most recent one that I watched. That I did hear was getting another season. So yeah.
That's exciting. You had me at Peaky Blinders. I just heard a ringing in my ears after that. Nothing else.
Tommy Shelby.
That's right. Let's all just sit and think about Cillian Murphy for a second. All right, no, it's fine. So we're gonna move on to the Superman of it all.
Sounds good.
I'm curious, how did your time as Clark, as Superman, did it impact you as a person after you moved forward, after playing that role?
I think in the sense that now someone asked me this the other day. They're like, how does it feel like it's knowing that it's always going to be a thing? And I think that was something that I probably didn't think about much at the time because it was just you're in it. But I actually watched did anybody see the Christopher Reeve documentary, the Superman? Yeah, it was a great documentary, really, really great documentary. And I remember at one point they were talking about, after his accident and stuff, and he was going through, I think he made a speech somewhere, and they were taking him out through the back, and somebody was like, "You'll always be our Superman," and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't realize like I'll to these people I'll still always be their Superman." That was something that had never even dawned on me. Like, oh yeah, whenever this is done, which I knew would happen someday, I was like, the lingering effect of that, of like it's always going to be. That's kind of like just starting to sink in now, and it's very cool to be a part of it. I'm very proud of the story that we got to tell with our show, and excited for what's next and new for Superman and all the other people involved in that. I thought David did a great job in the new film, so it's in good hands. Yeah, it was a special experience. I really enjoyed it.
I think we're all really grateful to have you as part of that legacy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
absolutely. This is not about me, so I'm going to turn it over to the folks now. If you want to step up to the mic, say your name, and then ask your question. It's your turn.
Hi, I'm Eliana.
Hi.
So Tyler Posey said that he was going to make a new Teen Wolf. I just want to know if, you're a part of it or if you know anything about it.
He's a liar. I actually talked to Posey the other day. There's always been talk. I mean, at least in the very beginning when we did the first film, there was always conversations of maybe it's more than one, maybe it's something else. So I would say nothing's impossible and everything is possible with that. So I don't know what that would look like. Who knows if it'll be another movie? Who knows if it'll be nothing? Could be another season or something. I don't know. It's going to come down to who has the rights, if they want to do anything with it, and kind of what can be thought up story-wise. But I would say it's not hopeless that there could be something else. So yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Den, like where bears live.
Hello, sir.
And my question is about preparation. I know as an actor you try to prepare for a particular role and draw from some kind of influence to portray it. How in the heck do you do Superman?
As cheesy, as cliche as this will sound, I kind of just it was my dad. My dad was kind of the inspiration for it, especially a lot of the Clark stuff. A lot of the Clark stuff was Papa Hoechlin, I would say, for the most part. And then the Superman stuff, I don't know, man. I just, to me, I just had a strong impression of who I felt this guy was. There's certain, the dual personality side of it, there's in personal ways I can draw from that in certain ways. So, I don't know, the idea that he's the best of us, to me, that was just always the guiding light. I was like, even if a situation was complicated, I'm like, this is who he is. He always does the right thing, and it's uncompromising. So, I think, there are situations where I always found it interesting to try to play with the notion of that and what is the right thing. But at the end of the day, it's just he's doing the right thing. I think usually we all know the right thing to do, and so he's just better at choosing that constantly.
Thank you.
Good question. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Noah. First off, go Cubs as well.
Go Cubs, go. Get him next year.
Oh,
Sorry,
yes.
St. Louis, I know.
My question is, with Superman and Lois unfortunately ending after season 4, is there any Superman villains that you would have wanted to fight, per se, if the show had kept going, per se?
I know Brainiac's the one that gets brought up a lot, and I think people have mentioned that we were working towards that, and so that would have been really cool. But selfishly, I got the ones I was really excited about. I'm a big arch rivals guy.
Oh, yes.
So, the fact that we got Lex Luthor and Doomsday, those were my two big asks that I was hoping for. So I feel like I'd be getting greedy if I asked for any other ones. But yeah, I know Brainiac is the big one that the fans kind of wish we had been able to tackle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. Hi.
Hi, my
Hi.
name's Dana. And I was just wondering, how you fell into the role of Sephiroth, that.
That kind of describes it.
You just fell into it?
Yeah, it was a random audition that came through, and I have to admit at the time I wasn't all that familiar with it, so I went in, did the audition, which was a new experience for me of going into a room and just doing the voice. And we did that for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Thought it was good, thought it was fine. Never heard anything for like a year. And then got an email saying, congrats, you've booked this role. And I was like, they didn't do that already? That was a year ago. Because usually if you're casting for a film or a TV show, it's like it's a few weeks away. And so I was leaving a movie theater one night with my brother and some friends, and I got this email, and I was like, I think I just got a job. I just got this job. And again, I still wasn't all that familiar. I familiarized myself with it a bit more. I started to learn kind of how big he was, but it really wasn't until, some people started stopping by the cons and stuff, like, like one of the biggest villains of all time. And I was like, oh, cool. That's sweet. And it was fun. I got to do that while I was shooting Superman and Lois sometimes. So on my days off, I'd be able to go in and do that. So I'd go from playing like superhero to anti-hero, and it was really fun. It was really cool.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Good question. Hi there, you look so cute.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Alex. My question is, what was like your favorite time on set shooting like the Infinite Earths times, like where you'd have like the whole CW there?
That was, I would say, one of my favorite days was, I think it was a day on Legends when we're like on the ship, and it was the coolest thing because that was the day that I think we had the most superheroes in one room. It was everybody. It was every single person that was like on those shows, and we crammed them all into one space. And those days were fun because it's, the scene is only going to be however long, and you have all these different people to say something. So we all had like one line. So it was just like in retrospect, it's kind of like an easy day of work because you got to do one thing. But funny enough, usually when you forget your line, it's when you have one. It's like if you have a whole page of things to do, you're in the story. But usually the person who misses their cue has like the one line in the scene, and that was all of us. So it was just like constantly like, wait, who goes next? And so it was a funny day like that. But it was great because like no one's in the corner rehearsing. It's just everybody's got their one thing to say, and they're just all hanging out in super suits all day. So it's kind of like a really, really funny day of like almost Halloween and like really, really nice costumes all day. So I think that was probably one of my favorite days because it was kind of like, it was more relaxed day. We weren't stressing out about a stunt or things like that, and just kind of got to hang with all of the DC characters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey,
How's it going?
good.
What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Rob, and what is your favorite experience playing Superman?
Man, I always say honestly, like some of the coolest days were like we were shooting on location. I always actually go back to like when we did Supergirl for the first time when I was there. There was an episode where we were shooting outside during the day, and there was like a probably like a bunch of like fourth graders walking by or something, and we were both in our suits, and like the teachers kind of stopped and were like peeking around, and like Melissa and I went over and said hi, and it was cool because it's like to them like they're actually meeting Superman and Supergirl because it's not like they're seeing them on the screen, like we were there in the park, so it was like in full suits. So like that was always kind of cool, like to be able to like bring the magic of it to the kids was really cool. But I don't know. I think honestly. Personally, doing like I won't give any spoilers away, but shooting kind of like the last bit of, usually you don't shoot in sequence. It doesn't always happen that you shoot in sequence when you're filming. So we actually did kind of shoot the very, very end of Superman and Lois as the last few shots that we did on the very last day. So I think having that experience and like really feeling like, wow, like I've insanely played this character for 8 years. All in all, like to kind of have that thing of feeling like we're wrapping up the show and we're wrapping up this chapter in my life and everything. That was really cool because we really actually had time to kind of like settle in it. It wasn't this thing where it ended before you knew it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, we're done? Like that's it? It was very, very aware that it was like that day everything was kind of slowly coming to a close. So that was really cool. It's cool we had the time to do that.
Good question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hello, my name is Ryan. So referring back to what you were saying about how you learned so much from San Mendez and now you're in that position of teaching new people and kind of, being that guiding force, what is some advice you'd have to someone? So I'm a new teacher, so like,
Oh, nice.
What is some advice you'd have to someone in that position of guiding the younger generation?
Oh man, I don't know if I give myself that much credit. You're doing way more than I am, man. Mine was more of like a lead by example kind of thing. What are you teaching?
English.
Oh, nice, man.
High school, yeah.
Very nice. I don't know that I've got much advice for you on English teaching. I mean, patience obviously is a good one. I think patience is definitely necessary.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, encouragement. I think encouragement and just like, making things exciting. I think at the end of the day, it's one thing to just kind of execute a task, but if you can inspire passion, I think that's always, that's a huge guiding light.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course,
That's a great question. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Todd, and I don't know if you remember we spoke
Yeah, of
briefly
course, man.
yesterday. So just a bit of a follow-up to our conversation from yesterday. Because they're in such desperate need of help with playoff longevity, what changes would we like to see to the Cubs lineup?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen with Tucker next year. We'll see what happens there. My buddy wants him to go to the Yankees, so I'm fighting him for that. But I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things where I don't know that we necessarily had like too many pitfalls this year. I know maybe some injuries could have helped us, like abiling those, but that's every season. But I thought the team that we had this year did a great job, man. They made a great push, especially compared to the last few years. So I think this was a really good season to build off of. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to see them run it back and see if we can just do a little better. I thought they did. It was a good showing. Just Game 5 did not go our way. So.
And if I may have just an unrelated follow-up, when
Yeah,
you
go
mentioned being among all the other actors in their super suits, they have such a reputation for being uncomfortable and impractical. I was wondering if you have any stories of, boy, I wish my suit was more like so-and-so's, or anyone felt, envious of your suit, that they would have rather had something different?
I don't think we got into the negotiations of who could take whose suit very much.
Yeah.
But I would say the ones who had the ones that like easily unzipped and maybe were two pieces definitely had the envy of the people in the one-piece suits because those are just a little easier to get in and out of. I think that's probably about as far as it was the one pieces and the people that were more than the one pieces, and it was kind of like that standoff.
All right. Thanks.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for your question.
Hi, my name is Lorelai.
Hi.
My question is, if you could give Derek one of the special abilities of any of the supernatural creatures within Teen Wolf, what would it be?
Oh man, I would have liked it if he just could have been better. He just could have been better. He got his butt kicked like a lot in those first couple. Actually, I think like all the time. Any other special abilities? Man, I'm trying to remember the other special. The only one that's coming to mind is Lydia's.
Oh yeah.
Which is the
that's a good
Banshee,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe that, because he probably could have used help a little more often.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you so much.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Kendry.
Hi.
And my question is, if you could pick up Derek out of Teen Wolf and put him in any other TV series or movie, where would you put him?
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, House Stark, yes. In the north. Yeah, 100%. Game of Thrones was when that was out, that was like my obsession. I absolutely loved that show. And I think Derek would have fit in nicely with the Dire Wolves. I feel like he would have felt very much at home there. I think so.
Thank you.
What would your choice be?
I would selfishly want to see him partner up with Superman.
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah.
Has there ever been like a superhero werewolf crossover? Like in any comics or anything? Yeah? There has? Get out of here. I can make a phone call.
It can happen. Yeah. You can make it happen.
Let's see what we can do. I know some people who might do this. We'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you. What house on Game of Thrones do you identify with? You, as Tyler.
Me?
Yeah.
I think Stark.
Are you Stark?
Yeah,
I feel that. I feel Stark energy.
Yeah. I felt like I could be a distant cousin of these people. I feel like. Yeah.
You like the cold?
I don't mind the cold.
Okay.
I don't mind the cold. If there's ski slopes, I don't mind the cold. Then it's all right.
Perfect. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Kevin, and it's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
I loved Superman and Lois, by the way.
Thank you very much.
My question is, now that they've established that there's a multiverse in Peacemaker, are you going to appear as a variant of Superman in any upcoming DC movies?
I don't have any plans right now, but I have no idea. There's a lot of conversations that go on behind a lot of closed doors that I'm not privy to. So who knows? I think nowadays with the multiverse stuff, like anything is possible. And I had a great time. So if they called, I'd love to run it back. But I don't know of anything at the moment. And let's be honest, even if I did, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. This is no. But genuinely, I've not signed anything saying I can't say anything yet. If that tells you anything.
But is that something you guys would like to see?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let them know.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hi there. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Jackson.
Have you watched the show yet?
I have
Did you watch the show yet?
I'm going to start on it this weekend. So my question is, what power does Superman have that's your favorite?
Mine, flying. Doing a lot of these shows and stuff and just traveling in general. I would love to just be able to zip there as quick as I can. That's my favorite one. But, I'd say heat vision was the easiest one to do, but it's funny. Melissa and I joked about this. Did anybody watch Supergirl? Did you guys see the finale of season 2? Do you guys remember there's a big standoff between Superman and Supergirl because he's under the influence, and we had to do this scene where we had to have this heat vision battle. But when we're doing it, it's there's nothing happening. So you're just in a room having a really intense staring contest with somebody from across the room, and it's eerily quiet, no one's making any noise, and we had to circle each other around this huge room. So the only thing you hear is our boots going and us having this huge standoff and looking at each other, and we were dying laughing at every single time they called cut, and we were like, this is going to look like the dumbest thing ever if they don't put in these effects. And so you put a lot of faith in the effects people that they're going to make it look cool and they're going to add some music, because otherwise it looks absolutely ridiculous. So it was a lot of fun. Cheers, man.
Thank you. Hi there. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Chris.
Hey, man.
I want to ask, let's say James Gunn called you and asked if you want to be any superhero in the DCU, what one would you choose?
Batman. Easiest answer. Batman was the one I grew up with. That was my guy. I always wanted to be either James Bond, Batman, or Indiana Jones. And I found out that you have to be slightly English to play James Bond. So that one was out. So I'm kind of left with those two. So in DC, I would love to play Batman.
What about Marvel, if they called you?
In Marvel?
Yeah.
I always felt like Wolverine made the most sense, but I'm not claiming it. You gotta be really careful. I love Hugh Jackman. Love Hugh Jackman. He's a global treasure. Australia, don't get mad at me. A global treasure. He'll play him till he's 95, I know. Yep. But Wolverine always, to me, was one of the ones that made the most sense. And I do love that character. I love Logan. But there's probably a few in there that'd be fun to tackle.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Hi there. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Jeff. I really enjoyed Superman, and I wanted to know about how dark the writing turned when Lex showed up. Because it felt like a family-friendly show, and then it turned into Saul, where he's punishing and killing Doomsday over and over and over. And I was like, this felt really dark.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if there was conversations that happened around that time.
No conversations really. I think that was just the energy that Lex, especially our version of Lex, brought to the story.
It wasn't like a new showrunner or a new person that made it turn dark. Okay.
No, just I think that's just who we felt the character was, and I think we always knew that Lex's presence was going to ramp that up a bit. So if anything, I think it was just a great job of allowing Lex being a part of the show to have its imprint on the show. Kind of in the same way, I guess you would say, like almost like the Harry Potter movies did it, where like the first few is a little bit more like the younger kids, and it's adventurous, and it's magical, and all these things, and then once you had like the death of, or blanking on the name right now, but Robert Pattinson's character.
Cedric.
Thank you, Cedric. Once you had that, it was like all of a sudden like, oh, this is like, we're entering into adulthood and things are more serious now and things are more, there can be some more gravity to these circumstances. So I think it was just more that. I think it was just feeling the weight and the presence of Lex on the show and not necessarily, any new people being involved. I think it was just the evolution of the characters in the story.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Great question.
Great question, though, yeah.
Hi there.
Hi. So my name is Sunny, and so I have a question.
Yes.
So you've worked with a lot of really funny people over your years of being an actor, and so I was just wondering if there are any specific moments from any of your times of being on TV, if you have had a moment where you've genuinely just cracked and could not function as a human being for a couple of minutes, or if there's any kind of impromptu scenes and shows that somehow made it in.
Yeah, I mean, so on Teen Wolf, I had a lot of practice at like not breaking because I had to work with Dylan all the time, who is one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. And if you remember Derek at all, he's not amused ever by anything. And so I always kind of had to do like, the straight face, like not really getting to me thing. So I got really good at it with Dylan, and then there was one scene that he did where, usually I could watch what he was doing, and it was very easy to just kind of poker face it. But we did a scene where Styles and Derek are both paralyzed because of the kinema, and we had to be like looking up at the ceiling, so I couldn't see what he was doing. But this guy kind of like said like the last line of the scene, and we were just kind of like supposed to let him talk, and like that was gonna be it. And there's a take where Dylan, right in my ear, just was like, and I heard what he did, but my face, like my imagination made what his face must have looked like just go way, way too far, and I started dying laughing. That was like the one time Dylan got me to break, and I was so mad because I wasn't even looking at him. That's how good he was. But yeah, I mean, it happens on set all the time. It happens on set. You just kind of, you get into a bit of like, especially like if you're doing late nights, if you're working until 5 or 6 or 7, 8 in the morning sometimes, usually the people that aren't up that late, I'm a bit of a night owl, so it doesn't usually hit me as hard, but the people that are not like that, around 4 or 5 a.m., you get some very delirious people, and you put them all in one room and try to have them act serious when there's any kind of, especially like supernatural things involved or just like super high stakes. It just becomes very funny, and it's you can get into these like laughing fits that everybody's got to take a quick break. The director has to be like, guys, I get it, but like stop. It's expensive. Your laughter right now is very expensive, and they don't like that. So you got to move on. But yeah, it happens. It happens a lot.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Hi there. What's your name and what's your question?
Hello, my name is Justin, and it sounds like both shows were like really fun to film. Which one do you think has like funnier bloopers?
Oh, that's a good question, man. That's really tough. I really wish they would release the reels for both of them because they're pretty great. I would say like on Teen Wolf, a bunch of us were like, there were more young actors in Teen Wolf than there are in Superman and Lois, so the gag reels would probably be drastically different, I would say. But we had some really funny stuff. The thing is, when you're doing, when you're doing anything that requires a lot of like effects and everything, when you don't have the effects and you don't have the score and the music and everything else going on, it looks insanely stupid half the time. So it's like to have those released with all of the freeze breath and the heat vision and all this other stuff, the flying, the taking off, like even just leaving a scene when you're supposed to be flying is insane. It's insane. So when you guys watch the show and we say a line and then fly up into the sky, we literally bend our knees and then like jump 6 inches off the ground, and that's it. And then we like sadly just fall straight back to earth. and again, the boots are really loud, so it's just like this huge echo that goes through the thing of like you obviously didn't make it that far off the ground at all. So those just on their own are fantastic. But yeah, man, I'm gonna see who I can talk to try to maybe get at least something released from one of the two of them, because the ones I have seen are pretty fantastic. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do.
Good question. I would love to see a compilation of just the takeoffs over and over, like every single one,
would
just a
so sad. It would be so sad.
in silence. I want nothing but the little jumps.
I remember I had a buddy that I did. I think it was my friend J.R. Bourne from Teen Wolf. I had gone up to do the first episode of Supergirl that I was doing, and he called me one day. He's like, hey man, like how's it going? Are you okay? I was like, yeah. What's up? He's like, oh, I saw this video of you, and you seemed like maybe it wasn't going so well. I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, I saw this video of like the scene where like you took off. I think like paparazzi had like videoed something. He's like, you kind of walked off set, and it looked like you were kind of like kicking the ground, like just like a kid like throwing a temper tantrum. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I saw it later. It was just this video. It was right after I had to do that. Basically, it was a scene where you fly off. They have to yell freeze. Everybody has to stop and like hold in place where they are. And then you have to like quickly leave the set. And then they say, and action. And then everybody picks up like you just flew off. And so I just had this huge cape that I think the cape weighed like, the cape was like, it was a huge leather cape, like a 20-pound cape that you had like on your back. And so we called cut. I ran off. And I think it was just the fact that I was just kind of like, just getting off the set, and I was like, oh man, they gotta wait for me and all this stuff. And it's just like it started kicking the ground, and it looked very sad. It looked very sad to see Superman just kind of like pretend to fly away and then have to run off of set, and then just like sit there and be like, all right, I'm out of here.
Nobody look at me.
Yeah, nobody looked. It's embarrassing.
Just disgruntled Charlie
You
Brown.
just feel like an absolute fraud. You really do. It's such a fraud.
We have a few minutes left, so if you have any questions, please get in line. I have some questions in the meantime. So we're at a comic convention. We have folks that collect lots of things. We're all very nerdy about lots of things. I gather you are sports nerdy. Yeah. What else are you nerdy about? Do you collect anything? Do you what do you geek out over?
Sore subjects.
Oh gosh.
I recently discovered that I've lost like my complete collection of Pokemon cards.
Oh, I see why this is sore. All right.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
And I'm not certain that all of them were, but there were a lot of first edition ones in there. So that's gone. Anybody else in here? Pokemon cards? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, they're gone.
Are we sure they're
gone.
gone, or are they just misplaced?
I've accepted it. We've
okay,
looked
so you have closure.
Mom and Dad have emptied their garage just to make sure. It's like one of those. Yeah.
I feel this way about my original Game Boy. I don't know what became of it, and I think about it pretty regularly. It makes me very sad. I have all of my original consoles, but not that one.
That's a tough one.
Bothers
That's
me.
a tough one. Yeah, no, Pokemon cards was big. Pokemon cards and baseball cards. I'll be honest with you. I think those are kind of the things that got me into acting, to be honest. I was 7 years old, and I found out from my parents that I had done like commercials as a baby. And I asked them, I was like, did I get paid for that? And they said, yeah. And I went, oh, I could do that again, and I could just get baseball cards and video games like whenever I wanted. I wouldn't have to wait for allowance. That'd be super cool. And so like that was like the initial thought, like, oh, maybe you should get back into that. and then I got like a letter in the mail for this. We got a letter in the mail for this like mass audition that this acting school was holding at the convention center near our house. And I had a baseball game that day, and we had a freak rainstorm come through and flooded the field, so we didn't have a game. So we're like, oh, let's go to that acting audition thing. And that's how I got into acting.
It's a really fortuitous decision.
Very, very, very crazy, very random, yeah.
So other than Pokemon cards and video games, what motivates you to keep acting now? I mean, you've kept doing it.
I've been doing it for a long time. I like telling cool stories. I like telling great stories. I like character work. The trailer you guys just played before I came out here, I'm like, yeah, that's like, movies are great. I like that we, I'm an existential person. I like to think about why we're here and why we do the things we do and what's it all about. So that was actually one of my favorite films I got to be a part of. Was a movie called Palm Springs. If you haven't seen it, very Groundhog Day kind of film. Andy Samberg, Kristen Milioti, really, really great cast, and I was lucky to be a small piece of that one. But it was it was just a great movie about like what does it all mean and what's the whole point of this, and I like exploring that stuff, so I think it's cool when movies do that.
That's amazing. Welcome back. What's your question?
Do you think you're faster than the Flash, like you're Superman?
Of course.
Faster than Brent Gustin's?
Obviously. You don't? You're wearing the sweater.
Well,
How are you not on my side on this?
because like you said at the ending of season 2, Supergirl
Yeah.
was like kind of better than your Superman.
Okay.
And then the Flash.
Her name's not the Flash.
But she raced the Flash.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like implied that they were either like the same speed or like. So
Well, I'm just gonna say maybe better doesn't mean faster. Come on. Do you just are you like me? Do you just like playing devil's advocate? Yeah. Okay. So if I would have said Flash, you'd be like, oh come on, it's got to be Superman, right? Okay.
I just know that it's implied that Supergirl is kind of more powerful than Superman in the CW.
I will not give Grant the satisfaction of this. I refuse.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there, come on up. What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Mercedes. I was just wondering, how was it when it was time for Bizarro?
In what sense? In what sense? Like every day when it was time to be Bizarro, or just like when that
When
whole
it
thing presented itself?
When you first started it, like how
Yeah.
how was it? Was it fun? Or was it hard?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, so the cool thing with that was, with Superman, you can still be creative, but there's kind of a box to play within for a Superman. There's certain rules and boundaries that you can push the boundaries, but you can't really break them. And at least for me, I didn't want to be compromising in certain areas for him because I didn't think that's who he was. But with Bizarro, it was like, oh, I get to play this character, but with no rules. It can kind of be whatever. So that was really fun. That was a really, really cool thing to be able to do, and to explore that character without boundaries was really exciting. So it was a lot of work, definitely a lot of work, playing both sides of it and doing the fight scenes and doing both sides of it. But it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool character to explore, and I thought it was really creative the way that they introduced him and the background and everything. And I thought they did a great job with that. The writers always did a great job.
That's what I was thinking. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, he looks so awesome.
Yes, and huge shout out to Trisha Porter, our amazing makeup artist. She worked really hard on that, and she stressed a lot about that. But I always thought she did a really fantastic job. So I thought our Bizarro looked pretty cool.
I thought it was awesome. I loved it.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
All right, well, I think that'll be our last audience question. What is next for you that you're allowed to tell us about? What are you working on?
We had a film announced called It Happened One Summer, a little rom-com that I think we're going to do with a team of people that I've worked with in the past. So excited about that. That'll be the next thing. And then after that is the nature of it. We'll sit and see.
See what happens?
We'll see what happens.
All right, everyone, give it up for our guest, Tyler Hoechlin.
Thank you very much, guys.
We are going to do a stage selfie now.
let's do it.
So what that means is this is your chance. You guys can come up to the edge of the stage. Don't come on the stage, though. Just up to the edge and then squeeze in together like you like each other.